Can I get rich if I just have a salary, do you think?
Yeah, you can. You can't get on the Forbes 100 list if you just have a salary. But if you want to make a couple $1 million, 100%. I mean, Brucey Bruce, back at Goldman Sachs, bought an ambassadorship, and he was only ever a salaried employee. Got bonus too, of course, climbed the corporate ladder, and is probably worth 100 million plus now.
So why do I need to buy a boring business?
You don't need to. The problem is, what if Bruce gets fired? What if your job doesn't exist? What if you're an attorney now and you make great wages or hours, but AI does take your jobs? What's your backup plan?
So my backup plan might just be, I don't know, I own some Airbnbs and I rent them out or something.
You could do that too. Airbnb's pretty volatile market. We've seen that now. And I think I don't like risk. And so I think if you want to get rich, how do you get rich? You try to not lose money over time. And you try to have enough bets where you can have an outsized return at some point. So you could just own Airbnbs. You could just do real estate. I don't really care how people do it. I don't think everybody should own a laundromat or a car wash, but I do think you should have a backup plan. So one day when you want to retire too, you got some extra income coming in.
So if I've got tens of thousands of dollars or pounds,
yeah.
Do you think, what do you think, what would you do with it?
I was playing this game yesterday. There's 3 businesses I really like right now. I really like senior care centers.
Senior care centers, okay.
Which is interesting because you'd go, Codie, I said tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. Mm-hmm. But senior care centers are interesting because there's all these government grants and allowances for the fact that we do not have enough of them in the US. And you can turn a house with the right licensing and zoning into a senior care center. And so I won't get too technical on it, but demographics show we have a huge aging population. We need more areas to take care of them. And you can start smaller by having an independent living house that has a rotating nurse. You make 3 to 5x the rent on that as you do a regular midterm or long-term rental. So I like the demographics of that one. Plus, it's not super capital intensive because you could rent the house out from somebody else and then just layer this assisted living center on top of it. We had to put my grandparents in one of these at one point because they needed 24/7 care.
Did you buy
No,
it?
but I should have. I think their families are already like crazy. I could only imagine if I said, the thing is, I'd like to cash flow on this. They'd be like, Codie, get out of here. I also really like, I like businesses today that are service-based, but don't require a ton of upfront capital. So for instance, window cleaning businesses. I just bought one of these. It's called Pinks with this company called Resi Brands, but I love it because I did it. We have a YouTube video that's going to come out and I was like, am I full of shit? Let's try this and see if I could actually do it. So you need to make $384 a day in order to have a business that does $100,000 a year if you only work 5 days a week. So I was like, can we make $384 pre-selling window cleaning services to somebody in order to start this business? And we tried it and we did it. And so I might start like a window cleaning business, a pressure washing business, a painting business. You could also buy one of those. Those are trade services businesses. And then the third type of business that I always talk about are what I call gateway drug businesses or semi-autonomous businesses like laundromats or car washes. The problem with those are they're slightly more expensive.
I just want to take a pause here and just sort of get perspective on what you're talking about for someone that has no understanding of business. So my name is Nigel and I am 37. I've never ran a business before. I don't know anything about businesses or investing or anything like that. What is it you're telling me to do?
And Nigel wants to make more money.
Nigel wants to make more money. He wants to be an owner. He wants to be a millionaire in 10 years' time.
And Nigel's willing to work hard.
He's willing to work the hardest.
He just doesn't really know what to do because there's so many options and so many conflicting things he gets told all the time.
He's hearing all these words, Resi Brands. He's hearing like window cleaning power. He's like, what's she doing with a power washer?
So if I was Nigel, here's the question I would be asking myself. I would be saying, 1, do I want to keep my job that I have currently? Or do I want to not keep my job? That's really important because it's like, am I going to go work on something 24/7 or not?
I'm not making enough money to completely walk away from my job yet.
Okay, perfect. So
but
that means you
a little bit of savings.
Yeah, you want a little side hustle that you think could be your full-time hustle.
Yes.
Right? So in that case, what I would start doing is asking myself, we have something called your unfair advantage Venn diagram. And what your unfair advantage Venn diagram is your skill set. So what is Nigel good at? And that's as simple as like, maybe Nigel's in marketing. So he's actually pretty good at marketing. Maybe Nigel drives a an Uber or a car service. So he's really good at working super long hours. He's just got the workhorse in him. Then I add my network. Who does Nigel know that could help him? So that might be like Nigel's brother is actually a plumber. He works inside of a plumbing business. So if Nigel figured out how to buy a business, he could partner with his plumber brother-in-law or whatever, and they could do it together. And then finally, it's like, what gets you excited? And by what gets you excited, I don't mean an industry. I mean, Nigel loves sales. Nigel loves it. He wants to sell people stuff. Okay. And the reason I talk about this Venn diagram like this is it's a little bit more complex than saying you should go buy a franchise, you should go buy a window cleaning business or start those, is because I think the biggest reason why people struggle with what to do next is they don't actually know themselves. And so if I was Nigel, I would say to you, find what your Venn diagram is of the things that you think you're good at, your network is good at, that you could actually go either start or buy a business on. Because the fastest path to wealth is having some type of ownership. So I would start there.
Before I knew what I know now about business, if I'd heard you say when I was 18 years old, just go buy a business, I'd go, Codie, listen, I've got $700 left from my call center job a month.
Yeah.
Like, how can I buy a business that's making millions or hundreds of thousands? I'm going to have to wait till I'm rich.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't buy it with your 700 extra bucks, but you could buy it with your sweat and your time. So there's 3 ways to buy a business. You can either use cash, you can use expertise, or you can use time, or what I call sweat equity. So think about it right now. I buy a bunch of businesses. I have a ton of cash. You know what I don't have a lot of? Operators. I don't have a lot of people who can go actually run the business that I want them to run. But if I had a young guy who was super hungry and I could give him $100,000 to go operate the business that I was going to go run, I would probably do that. And people do that every day in our community. And so for this young gun, you're not going to go buy the business outright yourself with your own capital. You're going to say, I'm working 12 hours in a call center right now. I am relentless. If you pair me with somebody that knows how to run a plumbing company and I just have to learn and do a bunch of the bullshit to start the company and grow the company or continue the company, would you partner with me? And they're not going to be able to partner with a Steven or a Codie probably at first, but they might be able to partner with, somebody's dad that they know. And so, like, for instance, we had a young guy in our group. I'll change his names to Adam since I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it or not. But let's say, so Adam was 19 years old. Adam worked inside of a marketing company and he had never run a business before, didn't have a lot of cash. Adam went to the senior partner of his marketing company that he worked for and said, like, we have this vendor over here that we do some stuff with. They do all of our graphic design work. They're really good. The guy's kind of done with running this business. Like, I don't think he wants to keep doing it. I was talking to him about the other day. What if we bought this business and I ran it? Like, I'll integrate it for us. I'll bring it into this company. And I think we can buy it with just a percentage of future profits we bring in, which is called seller financing. And the marketing head was like, if you think you can get that deal done, yeah, sure. And the guy was like, okay. Adam says, well, if I do that, can I have part of the company for bringing it over? And he said, well, yeah. I mean, I don't have to put in capital to the deal or I have to put in a very small amount of capital. You're going to run it. And we basically have like a risk-free trade because we just have to pay them a percentage of future revenue or future profit. Sure. And so now Adam owns a business that he's about to sell because he basically partnered with his owner. And so, I mean, you can even think about that with your business today. If you're a young person working with Steven and you're like, hey, Steven, we're in this studio right now. I saw like a sign out front that says that they want to sell this studio space. I bet we could rent out this whole thing and we could probably cash flow and make this a profit center instead of a loss center for us. If I could negotiate a deal that was basically a seller financed real estate deal for us, would you want to do something like that? I could help us run the, rental of it. Now you might say no to that first deal, but you're probably going to look different at that employee.
100%. And also, I just want to explain what seller financing is for someone that doesn't know.
Seller financing is how 60% of all businesses get sold when they're small businesses. So it's very normal. Seller financing just means this, that the seller uses a percentage of future profits to let somebody else buy the business. And instead of you having a loan or a mortgage for a house, they're basically saying, hey, my business right now makes $100,000 a year profit. I want to sell it to you for $300,000. You go, sounds good. I don't have $300,000. And they go, okay, well, why don't I sell it to you for $300,000 over 5 years, and you pay me each year from that $100,000 profit that we have? Could we do a deal that way? You might be like, yeah, we could do that.